From wherever you're tuning in, it's your sis Moon Magic, and welcome back to Tea and Terry, y'all. Happy Tuesday. How's everyone doing? I know I'm a few minutes late up on here. Got a little bit distracted, but that's okay. I'm gonna go ahead and add my information into the chat box, my website where you can find all my music, and also where you can book personal readings if you would like to book a one-on-one reading with me. And also, if you would like to donate, then you also can donate at my Cash App. All donations are welcomed and appreciated, but definitely don't feel any pressure to do so. I know that we all, are in some difficult times, especially financially and with our economic system and the global system at large, all that jazz. But I want to put it there. If you do feel called, it'd be much appreciated. I am a full-time artist, a full-time professional tarot card reader. So all that goes a long way to helping support me and keeping me doing what I love, and being able to connect with you all beautiful people. Shout out to Bell Stars Jewelry. Good to see you in here. I haven't seen you in a long time, girly. I hope you are doing well. But yeah, let's check in. How's everyone doing? I have my tea here. I got the immune support tea because I definitely feel like my body is fighting something. You know, I don't get sick often, but I do tend to, when everyone else is getting sick, there'll be times where I feel like I'm gonna get sick, like I could feel it in my throat or in my body, but I don't quite get sick, and I definitely feel that right now. I'm hoping I don't actually get sick, but I can feel my body kind of fighting something. So I have the immune support tea here. If you don't have your tea, go grab your tea, your coffee, your juice, your spicy juice, whatever it is that you're into, go grab that. Mine is the Yogi Immune Support Tea, and my Yogi tea says, serve all in truth, in compassion, and in grace. I also have my Moon deck, Oracle deck. I have the Angels, Gods, and Goddesses Oracle deck here. I have the Threads of Fate Oracle deck here. I have my Traditional Rider Waite mini deck, and then I have the Hip Hop Tarot deck. I am going to still do some opportunities for us to pause, tap into our intuition collectively here together, learn together, and see what we all kind of feel when we get to each card. But I am also going to do, let my intuition flow and let the messages flow, because I do feel like there are some messages that, want to come out tonight. Shout out to Bottomless Pit, and shout out to Courtney in the house. Good to see you here. So yeah, I'm going to be real honest. I think I mentioned last week how it's been a really crazy time for me, emotionally, and it's been rough. It's been rough. I don't really talk about, how I feel, when I'm not doing too well. Like, I'm not super vocal about it. I just end up making sad girl music. And those are just like gems that never come out. Like, if you look at my drive, I guarantee you like 80% of the music that is unreleased is like sad girl depressive music. But you know what? Music is my therapy, and it makes me feel better. And sometimes, like, I used to just like not create whenever I was feeling depressed or sad, and I would not speak about it. And then it became like I would just be like repressing my emotions, or I would be quiet, and like I couldn't create because anytime I would go to create, like all I wanted to do was like cry about my feelings, So now it's like I just allow myself to create those things or to speak about it, and that way it's like once I speak about it, I find that after, maybe I'll create 3 sad songs, but then like the 5th song I'm like, oh, this isn't a sad song anymore. This is like a more empowering song. It's like I'm able to get onto that other side of the feeling because I'm no longer just repressing that emotion and resisting it, if that makes sense. So it's been something I've been really trying to allow myself to do, especially because I've been in album creation mode and am really taking my time with this project that I'm working on, my next solo project. And so I've been every day just sitting down and being like, let me write a 16 and make a beat to it and make a song with it. And so most of them have been definitely sad girl songs, but we got some there that's probably gonna come out sometime, I'm hoping before the end of this year. But with all that being said, for me personally, my updates is definitely that it's been a rough time. Just in general, I'm sure a lot of you feel the pressure or the heavy weight and the sadness of what's going on in the world globally, just our political system that we live in, just the system we live in general, the divisiveness, the sickness within American culture, and the dynamics within American culture. Has just been really heavy on me in general, but also what's going on in a personal level. You know, let me bring some astrology into it, but Mars has been in Cancer and Venus is in retrograde, so you know our personal relationships are getting hit right now, whether that's romantic relationships and, you know, having things struggle in those departments, or feeling strain in those departments, but also in our communications and just our ability to feel supported. Mars in Cancer is a very passive aggressive energy, and is one of those energies where you're like, man, I feel like that person's mad at me, but they just won't say it, but they're like being passive aggressive towards me, and the communication's weird, things like that. So just in general, it's a very ornery type of energy, and I've definitely been feeling it in my personal relationships, and the last couple weeks in general have been really difficult. This last 6 months have been really difficult. It's been one of the more difficult periods of my life. You know, there's been some blessings, some really, really incredible, beautiful blessings, and you know, music and shows and touring is definitely a part of those blessings, but it does feel like few and far between sometimes, and it's hard to not get stuck in, like, you know, I just want my everyday, or most of my days, at least most of my days, for me to feel good about what I'm doing and feel good about myself and feel good about my relationships. And that's been really, really difficult for me personally lately. So I'm curious to know how you all are doing. I hope you all are in a better energy than I've been in. I've also been working on the tarot readings for my Patreon clients. So if you're interested in learning more about the Patreon and how you can sign up for the Patreon, my Patreon is free. And at my Patreon, you know, I dive deeper on some of these kind of topics and reflections, and do pick a card readings and things like that that are just exclusive for that Patreon. The just to join is free, and you still get access to a lot of content that I also share here on social media. And then the lowest tier you have to pay for is only $5, and that gives you all the exclusive content. And then the highest tier, which is the next tier, is $22, and that includes a tarot reading from me every single month. So that's real special, because the clients and the Patreon family that we have is very small but mighty, and it's the same group of people. It's like a handful of people, a handful of amazing, beautiful beings I get to pull for every single month. And I've been with a lot of these people for the last at least 2 years, and so it's really beautiful to see kind of how these transitions and transformations affect all of us, affect in their life, and see the growth and transformation through the process, and things that they're going through, things that I'm going through, the things that we're going through collectively, in terms of just like studying it, but also in terms of just being able to bear witness to each other's growth and transformation through the process has been super beautiful. So and it's an online community, so it's something where you can engage with the content and hopefully get to meet others who are like-minded and interested in those kind of topics. So if that's something you're interested in, definitely go to www.moonmagicflows.com. That's pinned down below, and click on the Join Our Patreon tab, and that's where you'll find all that the Patreon information. I also will post quite often some of these sad girl tracks that don't go anywhere else. I post a lot of demos, not mix and master, just demos of me really raw, authentically poetry rapping in my bedroom and how I'm feeling. So if that's something you also are interested in terms of being able to dive a little bit deeper in my music journey, you can definitely check that out there too. And then if you want to book a one-on-one reading with me during this time, you can hit me up in the DMs, or that link, www.moonmagicflows.com, also connects to my Etsy. So yeah, let's go ahead and check in the comments. Let's see how everyone's doing. Bellstar says, hey, just chilling with the baby, sleeping on me. You know what, girl? Hold up. I want to bring this out for you. Wait 1 minute. I still have this. And I feel like because you're here, I should use this deck. I still have this deck that I believe I thought I got it from you. I'm pretty sure this came from you at the house show, remember? Anyway, so I feel like I should use this deck because you're in the building. Let's see. Courtney says, that's okay. We're all sad girls sometimes. Sharing your authentic self is helping others more than you know. Ripples. Oh, I love you, Courtney. Thank you. And yeah, I feel it, man. There's been a lot of heaviness definitely within the world. Lefty Luciano Music says, is that an MF Doom painting behind you? This is an MF Doom inspired painting that I painted. It's one of my favorite paintings I've done. And yes, it was definitely inspired by MF Doom. I like this kind of ripple, like blowing. I use a straw method to blow on it, and that's how I'd be getting paintings like this. I have another one that's kind of like that. That's a plant painting. I'll show you. Hold it. So this is another one that kind of has a similar method. This is also one of my favorite paintings that I've done. And the other one is like an eyeball that I actually used for the Ripple Effect album cover, but it's downstairs in the studio room down there, so I don't have access to it, but maybe I'll bring it up next time so you all can see. Shout out to Pat up in the house. Pat Bateman, what's up? Bellstar says, my dreams have been so vivid and make me wake up so uncomfortable the last few days. Yeah, I believe, I would blame that on Pisces energy, which, hold on, let me grab my iPad too. Which I believe Pisces is a Neptune, but we obviously are in Pisces season in general, and I find that whenever we're in Pisces season, that dreams become a lot more vivid, and sometimes it can be really uncomfortable because I don't know about your experience with your dreams in general, but for me, I know if I'm going through a difficult time emotionally, like maybe I'm having a lot of things that are stressing me out during my waking world, I find that my dreams themselves can either be super restorative, where like I don't want to wake up because I feel like what's going on in my dream world is really like leading me, like leaving. It's interesting because it's like it won't really make sense when I wake up, but when I'm dreaming, I can tell that I'm healing or that I'm gaining certain information that I really need in my dream world. And I will actually like reserve time when I'm going through a lot in the waking world to dream more, if I am in a period of where I'm realizing I'm having really vivid dreams. But also on the flip side, if I'm going through a period that's really stressful and difficult, where I'm feeling like alone or just like unsupported or just in general like sad, I also have experience where my dreams will be super vivid in a way that it's like I just feel like I have nightmares all night long. So if that's your experience, I'm really sorry to hear that you're having that, and definitely sending you love and support. I found that I have this like chamomile tea and like lavender teas and teas that are really soothing before bed help me. And also there's like this calming spray that I have sometimes that I'll use, and then just trying in general to like set a very calm, I have this little thing that's like a humidifier over here that has essential oils, things like that can really help calm and neutralize your sleeping space, can help, especially if you're experiencing like ongoing night in and out. There we go. We're back on. So yeah, so if that is happening, it would help. Courtney says, love your vulnerability and just want to take a moment to honor the bravery it takes to be vulnerable. Thank you. You're not alone in the intensity of these past few months. Big shadow work, right? I feel like as a nation, we're all going through an intense shadow work period as a society, as a collective. And thank you for that love. It is hard because I do feel like, there's a balance, right? Like I don't want to just be on here and be like sad girl all day long. But also like on the flip side, right? I also do feel a certain way when, especially people who practice tarot or other kind of like spiritual practices in general are always super positive and not transparent about what they're going through on the other side. I do think it's important to spread love and light, but I also think it's important to be honest when we're struggling, because I find that when tarot readers or people in general who are not honest about it, I have a hard time really connecting with them or feeling like I can relate to them because they seem to have it all figured out, and I don't really think that's real. I think it's a facade and something that people put people on a pedestal when the reality is we're all in this human experience together. We're all going through the ups and downs of life. Some of us, yeah, sure, we got it a little bit more figured out, or a little bit easier navigation, or more privilege in certain areas than others, but for the most part, like, pretending that things are just love and light all the time is toxic to me, in my own belief, and I don't think it's very helpful to do that. So yeah, I'm trying to be honest and vulnerable and open with it, because you know, I don't ever want people to feel like, oh, just because you pull tarot or do something like that, you don't go through difficult things, or don't feel the heaviness of the world, or don't have your relationships get fucked up, or you don't, you know, struggle with your own trauma and areas that you feel like you just can't seem to figure out in your life. Which is a lot of the frustration has more to do with like areas in my life that I feel are just constant, same place, and can't really, is like a cog in the machine of that area of my life, and I can't get the cog to move forward. It's like, but we here, and as much as I pray, and I am so disciplined when it comes to my spiritual practices, my self-care routines, that doesn't mean that all of a sudden that shit's gonna go away. And I think there's this idea that if you just like show up every day and pray, and, you know, pull some tarot, and do your stretches, and do your yoga, and do your runs, and drink water, that all the answers of life are just gonna work out. And personally, that's not how it's worked out for me. I do all those things every single day, super disciplined with it, and been building on that discipline for years, 5 years plus, and the answers ain't flowing like that. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, I understand, the answers are there, I'm journaling, I'm feeling it, right? And then a lot of times I'm like, dang, I still don't know what the heck is going on. And I just think when people pretend like they do have all the answers, it just feels really fake to me personally. And Bellstar says, I thought so. It would be honored if you use it. I'm definitely going to use it in this reading, because I haven't used it I use it from time to time. I use it from time to time. But I haven't used it lately, so I'm going to bring it back for this one. Are those tarot cards? Yes, they are tarot cards. Courtney says, yes, that part. There's a lot of toxic positivity and spiritual bypassing. 100%. Like, I think that's what it is. I think there is, you know, spreading love and light is important, but not acknowledging our shadows or holding space for it is toxic, in my opinion. It's okay to have boundaries, and if that's something that you personally, you know, don't want to sit in, you know, we don't want to sit in it. We don't want to ruminate in it, but we don't want to repress it either. You know what I mean? And I just find in these spaces, oftentimes it's like, oh, love and light and positivity. And if you're not all love and light and positivity, you're just not as spiritually enlightened as I am. I'm clearly so superior. And it's like, what the fuck? I just can't. AC's in the building. What's good? Fit415 says, my friend's doing tarot readings Saturday. I've only seen tarot in movies. Well, tarot in movies is not a very good representation of tarot. And every tarot practitioner is different. So my personal belief system is that tarot is similar to like a Rothschild's test in therapy, where the images trigger parts of our subconscious. And because 80% of what we do is subconscious, we're not always aware of the things that are happening in our subconscious life, in our mind, in our body, in our spirit, our emotional body, right? And so by sitting there and setting that time aside to pull tarot, we're actually setting time aside to have a conversation with our subconscious, aka spirit, aka our inner divine, to kind of sort out these underlining things that are happening in our subconscious lives and become more aware of them, so that we can empower ourselves. Tarot to me is a very self-empowering thing. It's not going to tell you something you don't know. It's not going to you know, it's not the universe that's separate from you controlling your life. It's you connecting with you, which is the universe, right? The stars and the cosmo of all that we are. That's my personal belief, though. You know, everyone has a right to their own belief, and I don't think anyone needs to believe what I believe. That's just my flow. You feel me? Underground promoter in the building. What's good? He said, yo. I see Tony's in the house. Peace. Oh my gosh, my power went out again. This is ridiculous. Y'all, we are gonna get our power fixed, I swear. Our electrician's coming on Thursday to they have to redo. So basically the wiring in my house is 100 years old, y'all, because I live in an old ass house. So the wiring was done in like the 1920s or 30s in this house. So basically they have to like come in and rip open the walls and like redo all the wires in this house. So it's a process, and right now I'm just grateful that I have electricity, even if it's kind of wonky. All right, y'all, we're gonna go ahead and dive into this reading. I did want to pull up the chart real quick and see if see where that Pisces is, or where Neptune is, because like I said, I think it's in Pisces, and I'd like to have the chart open because I think it would be real dope to look at as we're doing what we're doing. Oh my goodness, not me. Oh man, my Wi-Fi went out. Well then, okay. Well then. We might not actually get it. We'll see if I can get this to go. Yeah, went out, y'all. Okay. All right, I'm gonna have to redo this. Give me 1 second. This is a day in the life of my power issue right now. Y'all are going on the journey, and then we are gonna get this started, I promise. Thank you for bearing with me. Hold up. I just gotta plug in this extension cord. Like, I have a whole system with how messed up my power is, y'all. So basically, I have to go into another room and plug in an extension cord that then plugs in, because this part of the house does not have power issues, but my part of the house does. And then from there, plug my extension cord. I used to just have it plugged in, but then it started working, and now it's not. So this is a whole process. That's way longer of explanation than I need to give y'all, but I'm not lying when I say my power sucks right now. But we're back on, and it shouldn't go off because I reconnected it to the other room, so. But no Wi-Fi, so we probably ain't gonna pull up the charts. But we are gonna go ahead and ground in and get ourselves started with this reading now. Thank you for your patience, and yeah, let's get it. Okay, so if you are comfortable, I hope you guys had time to get your tea. You know what I'm saying? Get your water, get your juice, whatever your vibe is. Get your journal. If you feel like journaling to these sessions, sometimes I like to journal when I'm vibing with the tarot. Or if you just want to, be present and be here with me, that's still just as amazing. So whatever your vibe is, I hope you have everything you need. We're going to go ahead and ground in. You could put one hand over your heart, one hand over your gut area. If you are safe, not driving, not going anywhere, and you can close your eyes, go ahead and close your eyes. Plant your feet firmly on the ground so you can really ground into the earth. And we're going to go ahead and take a deep breath in through our nose. Thanking your guides, my guides, and the divine for this day. Just speaking gratitude for this moment, for this time to check in with ourselves and one another. Deep breath out. Another deep breath in. Just asking that these messages come exactly in the way that you need to hear for your highest good, that make exact sense to you. That channel comes in and speaks those messages to your heart wherever you are in your journey that are affirming and confirming for you. Deep breath out. Last deep breath in. Just really asking Spirit to create the sacred container away from external distractions where we can really vibe and connect with one another and protect this space. And so that we can receive what we need to receive. Deep breath out. I think it's so important to just be grateful for this space right here, right now. Because we don't always get the opportunity to connect in this way. And I am super grateful. And that's one thing with all the sadness or the heaviness that's been in my life, is also trying to hold on to the things I am grateful for, because there's a lot of things that I have to be grateful for. And this space is definitely one of them. I've really looked forward to connecting with you guys every single week and getting to create this sacred container for each other to connect and flow. Is definitely one of my highlights and something that I am super grateful for. So thank you all for being here, and being part of that support system for me, for each other, for yourselves. Yeah, it means a lot to me. Also, shout out to Raw Flower Studios, Christian in the house. Good to see you here. All right, so we are plugged in, tapped in, and ready to go. I'm trying to use my data on my phone because our Wi-Fi is connected to the part of the house that does not have electricity. So funny. It's like, it will be totally fine the whole day, and then as soon as I go on here, it starts to fuck up. Which is hilarious to me. But okay, I'm gonna pull up the chart. We're gonna do that, and then we're gonna vibe on here. I'm gonna start with pulling up the overall energy here with the Hip Hop Tarot deck. I will still allow you all to take time to pause, vibe with your intuition before I start channeling specific messages. I did want to use the Hip Hop Tarot because it is just major arcana cards, which I find is really helpful in just really like zoning into what that energy is. And I do have the chart pulled up right now, and I did confirm Neptune is in Pisces, y'all. So going back to your dreams, Bellstar, I would really think that being in Pisces sun, and also the fact that Neptune is in Pisces, is probably very responsible for that dream state. Also, I would check your personal chart too. If your personal chart has a Neptune in Pisces, that also could be super highlighted right now. So you may already have really vivid dreams because your Neptune's in Pisces, and then on top of that, being a Neptune in Pisces right now could be a double whammy, so to speak. All right, so let's go ahead and let's go ahead and pull and see what the current energy is. The Hangman, Childish Gambino. All right, y'all. So let's go ahead and take a couple of seconds here. Tap into your intuition. Let me know what you see in this card, whether it's the halo sun thing around his head, the tree, Childish Gambino in general. Maybe that makes you think of something. The first thing that came to my mind is This Is America. Definitely the vibe of our nation right now. So go ahead and take some seconds. Let me know down below what is intuitively coming to your mind when you see this card. What is the energy you're getting from this card here? Raw Flower Studio says, I'm an electrician. I can fix that. Really? I need to hit you up about that. I know you said you'd be working in construction. I need to hit you up about this electrical issue because, yeah, this house is old and it needs a whole lot of fixing. All right. So first thing I think of is actually This Is America, like the song, Childish Gambino song. I think that within itself is already a message. I think that is literally the energy that we are in, is like, this is what it is. Whether we like it or don't like it. And a lot of it does make us feel powerless, right? Is like, this is America. This is the system. This is the reality in which we are living in. And similarly speaking, the Hangman is about being tied and not being able to do anything about it. It is a card about complete surrender and loss of control and loss of self-autonomy in a lot of ways, which I know that is a heavy energy or a depressing energy, but it's also the reality of, I think, where a lot of us are individually, but also collectively as a nation, is feeling this loss of self-autonomy or ability to move in the system that we're in, because it has us so tied up and bound up and feeling powerless in many ways. As you can see, the person's foot is literally tied and hanging from this tree, unable to move, unable to actually have any freedom. Their hands are bound up. They cannot control what's happening. They cannot unwrap themselves, so to speak. They cannot move themselves. They are just kind of stuck there. And the traditional Hangman is very similar. I wonder if I can find it in this deck real quick. Where it's also almost identical, actually, to this one. This one's imagery is pretty spot on to the traditional one. Yeah. This is the traditional Hangman. As you can see, it's almost identical But there is life here, there is life here. There is still greenery. There is still some sort of sustenance, that's the word I like to use, sustenance, nutrients somewhere. The red, the passion, I think is really interesting that's a difference between this one and this one, which I think again speaks to what's going on in our nation and in our personal lives, and Mars in Cancer, which is bringing out a lot of passion, a lot of fieriness, a lot of emotion. We got the blue here, right? And the way in which the head is illuminated, it gives like, even though we are bound up and unable to move or control or have self-autonomy, there is this sense of enlightenment that comes with this card too. This sense of awakening, so to speak, that I can see happening in whether it's your relationships. We're in Venus retrograde, y'all. Whether it's in the nation and maybe the way in which the system works, and new levels of understanding of the different depths of corruption or depths of levels of things, right? There is this illumination in the head, in the area of the mind. So I feel like there is a lot of activity happening here in the mind, a lot that is being brought to awareness, a lot that is being brought to the forefront of our mind at this time, collectively, individually, in our personal lives, etc. Let me know what you're feeling intuitively with this message down below. But that's what I'm gathering right off the bat, just looking at this for our collective energy, the energy that we're currently in, is really just, we in this biatch, you feel me? This is America all day. And this is the reality of our lives, whether we like it or not. And this has definitely been the energy I've been feeling personally. Like I said, I think there's this tendency to think that because you pray or you pull tarot or, whatever other woo-woo stuff, that all of a sudden that means that life's just going to be magical for you 24/7, and that you don't have to be human, and that, you have it all figured out and you're just an enlightened Buddha on a mountain somewhere. And I don't personally believe in that. I think there's actually certain things that spirit will keep from you regardless of how tapped in and tuned in you are. There are certain things that you are not meant to understand for your own growth, for your own safety, for your own protection, for your own not even needing to know what it's for at this moment. And I've felt this way about a certain aspects in my life for a very long time. And there will be moments of clarity, moments where I'm like, oh, okay, I kind of understand this is why this is the way that it is. But ultimately, I think that the path is still unfolding. And that's the whole point. There's a lot of that the path is still unfolding that you're not supposed to know. You're not supposed to understand every aspect of the journey, because it takes away from the journey. And that's part of being human. And so anyone who says that, I can give you all the answers through tarot, or you're going to get all the answers because you pray, and all of a sudden you're just going to know everything, I just don't feel like that's real. And I feel like that energy here is being highlighted in the Hangman of no matter what you do in this time period, there is going to be certain things that you just can't control. There are going to be certain things that you just aren't going to fully understand or fully be able to grasp, and having to learn to navigate with that. And I don't want to say necessarily accept it or be okay with it, but to understand it for what it is and move with it, work with it. That's what the tarot is all about, is being able to understand energies, not so that we can be sad about it or to feel disempowered, like, oh, well, I can't do anything about it. But no, if you know what something is and understand the energy of it, then we can work with it. And that within itself is empowering. And so if we understand that we're in this energy in our personal lives and in our collective lives, right, that is an energy that can feel disempowering, right, that can make us feel that we don't have self-autonomy, that can make us feel that there's so many things happening in our government, in our personal lives, in our financial, economical lives, that feels so out of our control. How can we work with that energy, with that, from that understanding of this Hangman surrender position, which this is about surrendering. This is about trusting. This is about allowing things to be what they are to a certain degree, and exploring it from that place. Man, I just realized I have all the cards messed up down here. Okay, so let's go ahead and pull an advice card. Well, first, I'm going to pull some support cards. Like I said, I didn't want to do a more traditional reading on this because the energy's been heavy for your girl. I know it's been heavy for the world. So let's go ahead and pull a little bit more support cards around this Hangman energy. 10 of Cups. I love that card. What about the 10 of Cups, Spirit? Yeah, I feel like a lot of it just is dealing with our overall satisfaction and fulfillment in life in general. Maybe you got the Fool card. Maybe the things in which you thought life, the naivety of certain things and aspects of what you thought they would be, whether it's your relationship and you thought, man, this is the way that the relationship was going to be when you first met this person, and those rose-colored glasses, so to speak, that you may have had about your life, your hopes, your dreams, your ambitions, your relationship, your career. It's like those are the things right now that you feel like are being surrendered, you know what I mean, that are being bound up, that are being, it's that barrier between you and your ability to be fully satisfied or feeling fulfilled in what it is that you're doing. And a lot of it is this connection to the Fool card, this ripping off of those rose-colored glasses, so to speak. And like I said, really seeing things for what they are. This is America. This is the system. This is what it is. And that can, like I said, it can be a heavy energy, but the whole point of this is to be able to work with that energy. So let's dive into how can we work with this energy, knowing that that's what it is, knowing that this is this energy that can be difficult to find these things. I feel like that's part of the challenge, is how do you find fulfillment, or how do you find new ways of imagining and thinking in a system and in a society or in parts of your life that feel like have been ripped from that, if that makes sense. So let's go ahead and look at what the overarching advice would be. I'm going to start with again, the Hip Hop Tarot deck, and then we'll go ahead and pull some support cards. And you know I'm going to pull the Oracle cards at the end, as always. Oh, the World. Interesting. Interesting. 2 of Swords. Yeah. 4 of Swords. And the Moon card. Yeah, okay. Beyonce, y'all. All right, so this is our advice card. So go ahead and let me know down below. What are you pulling from this intuitively? Maybe it's something about Beyonce you're thinking about. I feel like this is Jay-Z in the corner. We have a bull, a lion, and an eagle. And then I'll talk about the support cards too. For me, when I first see this card, I'm thinking about always full circle moments when it comes to the World card. Like everything will come for full circle eventually. And I feel like that is the advice here, is like the things in which you do feel like you're bound up with. It's like, it's giving me the, what's that saying? I asked God to give me to be able to, man, I forget what that saying is, where it's like, to let go of the things I can't control and to change the things I can't control, and the discernment to know the difference between the two. I don't know if you all have ever heard that saying, but that's the kind of saying, I know I'm not saying it correctly, but it's something like, I pray to God that I be able to let go of that which I cannot control, right? Surrender that which I cannot control. Change what I can control, right? Take accountability, take action, speak out, express, especially during this time politically, of what I can control, and in our lives, what you can control, right? And then to have the discernment, between the two. To know what it is that you can and cannot control, like to actually be able to have that discernment of understanding, this is something that I actually can control, take accountability for, take action on, speak out against, do something, but this is something where I can't, and I have to give it to God. You know, there's a lot of things that we have to give to God, especially when we are blinded, whether by not knowing in this moment because we don't have the full scope or the full picture, or whether it's just not our, you know, I like to think of life, and a lot of times the tarot shows me about how life is like a big giant puzzle, and how there's lots of moving puzzle pieces, right? And how your life certain aspects in your life, our lives, right, are like small pieces of the puzzle, and you don't always know how other people's puzzle pieces fit into your puzzle piece. And it's like, you think all I have to do is do this, and like, why is my puzzle piece not fitting? And it's like, no matter what you do, the other puzzle piece you need is actually not in your control. Spirit's over here moving puzzle pieces to bring that puzzle piece to you, or you have to move this puzzle piece over here so that that puzzle piece switches over here. There's all these moving puzzle pieces that that are out of our control a lot of times, and that spirit is moving in the background that we don't always understand. And I see that a lot with the tarot, and I feel that a lot here in this message as well, of the advice of trusting the way in which the puzzle pieces are moving. And again, going back to what is it that you can control? How can you contribute and make change and control what it is that you can work on, take care of, whether it is, we got the moon card, shadow work here, facing your own demons, quote unquote, so to speak, facing your own shadows, navigating your own shadows, seeing things for what they are, not turning a blind eye to what's going on, actually showing up and doing the dirty work, doing the hard work, doing the inner work, holding space for yourselves, for one another, for the collective, for the grief, for the parts that need some serious looking and reflection on within ourselves and within others, the parts that have been traumatized within our own personal lives and the way that they play out in our relationships, the way they play out in our government. Those are ways we can actually show up and take action and take accountability by changing ourselves and changing the way we interact with one another on a interpersonal level to the intrapersonal level, right? But then also understanding what it is that is not in your control and giving it to God and saying, God, please help me with this situation, and grant me the discernment to know the difference between the two, so that I'm not, carrying or trying to carry something that I know I actually cannot control or take on. And this card also, the advice I would say for it is to trust that things will come full circle. Trust that things will make sense eventually, even if it's not right now. Even if it's not 6 months from now. Sometimes it takes years for things to really come together. I've had certain full circle moments that have taken 5 years for me to be like, oh, that's why that had to happen that way, and that's why I didn't understand why this was going on, and so on and so forth. And I feel like there's also a sense of trusting the graduation, the spiral, when we are growing, it's often in a spiral, right? We'll return to the same lesson or the same thing, but it's from a different level. And I feel like that may be happening here too as well, especially if you feel like you're stuck or in the same aspect of something, whether it's in your relationship, in your business, or in your career, in your dreams, in your hopes and your aspirations, the world itself, right? It's like we're in the same place again. Trusting that we're in that same place, but it's in a spiral. Like there is an higher knowledge that's being received each time that we meet that spiral. It's a new level of understanding, a new level of overstanding. And I feel like that advice is also coming here with the World card as well. Courtney said, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, accept the things I cannot change, accept the things I can't, and the wisdom to know the difference, or something like that. Yes, that sounds right. It's something like that. That's the saying. And that's the message and advice I feel like that is really, really driving home with this World card here right now, especially for us collectively, but also in our personal lives with the Venus retrograde. There's going to be a lot of things emotionally that are going to pop up that we may not be expecting. I'm going to look at these support cards. You have the Two of Swords, we have the Four of Swords, and the Moon card. And the Two of Swords here, I feel like, is that extra confirmation and affirmation about what I was saying about how we are blinded by certain things on purpose. Like I truly believe no matter how spiritually ascended, quote unquote, you are, right? You're never going to know everything, and it's actually, there's a reason why you're not supposed to have certain aspects of your life figured out, or certain aspects of things in general figured out, and it's for your highest and greatest good. And I feel like that in general is the message here as well. The parts that you feel like the hangman in, that you just like, I've looked at this every single way that I could possibly look at it. You're not ignoring the situation, you're not repressing it, you're not showing up for the work. It's like you're day in and day out clocking in, and you still can't seem to figure it out. Two of Swords energy, like trust that there's a reason you're not supposed to figure it out. You're just supposed to continue showing up for it and doing the best that you freaking can, and give yourself that grace and compassion and love in between all of it. because I know how frustrating that is, right? To feel like, man, I show up every single day and am actually one of the people who are trying to do whatever the thing is, right? Fill in the blank, whether it's, working towards this specific goal in your personal life, whether it's, working towards this specific, collective vibration, whatever that thing is, your own personal growth, or collective growth, right? If you know you're showing up and doing the best that you can, at the end of the day, the moon's still in the background, waxing or waning, who knows, but it's not full. It hasn't come to a culmination, right? It's in progress. It's in progress. And I feel like that's where we're at, and we're not going to know exactly how all the pieces fit in our lives right now, and that's for a divine purpose, and trusting that and leaning into that as much as possible, and realizing X, right? This card actually came up, I'm pretty sure, in last week's reading too, so go back and double check that. Not only are the readings here on YouTube, on the Instagram, but I also have been putting them on YouTube. But we talked about this card last week. This showed up as the collective energy last week, either for the advice or the actual overall energy. I can't remember which one. And I think that's because we are continuously still in this energy, that X, like, do not go this way, divine redirection, divine rejection, divine blockage. You know what I mean? Sometimes we are blocked in certain aspects of our life for our own good, and because we need to sit our asses down and not move. 4 swords. Sit your ass down and pray. Look at that. Sit your ass down and pray. Reflect, rest, relax and enjoy as much as you can. Relax and rejuvenate. Relax and recover as much as you can. Relax and heal. I know that sounds kind of contradictory. Relaxing and healing. But you know what I mean? Like, taking the time to rest, rejuvenate, recover, focus on your healing, focus on self-reflection, focus on collective reflection, like reflecting on what is going on collectively, especially globally in politics and economically, but also taking conscientious breaks from those things, so you're not just spinning your wheels 24/7. Like, there has to be a balance between all of it, knowing when to continuing to show up, but also knowing when to lay certain things to rest, and going back to that discernment thing, and knowing what it is that you can change and the things that you cannot change, and having the wisdom to know the difference. And I feel like that's a really big message right now, for us collectively, but also personally, right? If you find yourself in a continuous cyclical certain pattern in your personal life and personal relationship, it's not going to help you to beat yourself up 24/7 about something that you feel like you've tried and tried and tried again, but you can't seem to figure out or change. There has to be a certain point where we allow ourselves to accept things that we cannot change, and to have the wisdom to know the difference and show up for the things that we can change. And if you're not sure the difference, just showing up every day and asking God to guide you in that way, and to be able to have that discernment and difference, and to be kind and compassionate and loving to yourself through that process, can do wonders. Because beating ourselves up and running ourselves ragged and all those things is nothing for nobody. Because the moon card is here, y'all, and I said this in my post about, that I posted yesterday about why I call myself Moon Magic, is because I believe it's really important to hold space for our shadows, for ourselves and for one another. And it's often something that people don't do, right? We go back to all that toxic positivity, right? But it is heavy. It is difficult to hold space for our shadows, but there is a magic in it. There is so much magic when we can hold space for our shadows, because no one can put you down when you know the depths of your shadows. No one can make you feel less than, or make you feel like you're unworthy, or when you have looked at yourself and the reality of the world and the reality of you, and really come to understand your shadows inside and out, you are unstoppable. You can really truly love yourself, and no one can take that away from you. You know what I mean? It's like someone trying to come up to you and hate on you, and you're like, well, I've already hated on myself on that, so you ain't really got that much power over me. You know what I mean? Like, I'm aware of this thing that I do that I dislike about myself, and I've accepted that that's something that I struggle with, and I'm doing my personal best to get better at it. And you are telling me like I don't know is hilarious. And you can find the humor in that, and the ability to love yourself stronger and deeper, because you have that understanding of yourself rather than being blinded by it and like, oh, I'm not going to look at that. And then when someone points it out, you get so triggered that you unravel because this is a part of yourself you feel deep shame for and hate about yourself that you have not accepted and don't know how to handle or what to do with. And we all have those aspects of ourselves, right? But that's what shadow work and all those things are so important to me, and holding space for that is because we learn to love ourselves with that underbelly, because life is an underbelly, you know what I mean? Life is good and bad, life is life and death, life is all the things in between. So yeah, I really feel like these messages wanted to come out today, and so I'm just gonna let that be that. And I'm going to go ahead and pour into our oracle cards. Let me know if Beyonce makes you think of anything. You got any good Beyonce tracks coming to your mind with the World card here? Let me know down below. But you know, Beyonce is also someone that people can kind of try to shit on sometimes too, but she don't give no F. She's Queen Bey, you know? And I feel that similar energy. Where's your Queen Bey? Bring out your Queen Bey and allow yourself to step into that energy, good and bad and everything in between. You feel me? But I do think she's a queen, so fuck the haters. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and pull some oracle cards and see what comes out. Ooh, okay. And from Bellstar's deck, the crystal deck, let's see what comes out. Oh, you want one energy, not a million cards. One card, please. Yo, what is going on? Listen, one card. Not 3 cards. I'm going to end up having to pick a card. Okay, there we go. And then one card from the moon deck for our little heart space. Oh, yeah. Look at that. I forgive and let go with love and ease. Yes. Like, okay, so within that, right? God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change and accept the things I can change, and the wisdom to know to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. With all that being said, there is a certain level of grief I feel like you have to bear witness to, and that is very grief is a difficult energy in general, right? But when there are certain energies and things that we cannot change, right? Like when you lose a loved one, or certain aspects of the way that life is, or certain things that you feel powerless to change about the world that you don't like, or about yourself, there is a certain level of grief that I feel like we have to experience, of letting that go, of letting go that this is something that I don't have the power to control or change at this moment. And of course, we can work on certain things, especially if it's aspects of ourselves, and gain more awareness on it. But having to love ourselves through that, there is a grief to it. Having to love the world and others through their ugliness and messiness, there is a grief to that, right? So I feel like it's very significant that this message came up right now. We have Angel of Vision. Someone is not revealing part of the story. Trust your feelings over what others say. I like that. I feel like this is a very serendipitous time for trusting your intuition and what you're feeling, because there is so much Mars and Cancer energy where people are going to be like side-eyeing or side-spewing their own internal turmoil. Maybe not consciously, a lot of it is subconscious, and you can love these people and be like, dang, I don't know why they're talking to me like that. I don't know what I did to them, so that this could be connecting to that, and just trusting your intuition and trusting what you're feeling over what others are saying, especially people who you usually trust and usually connect with if things feel off. That's what's coming through with this, but I am going to read the message for it. And then we have Orbicular Jasper. I've never seen this stone before, but Jasper I'm pretty familiar with, which is a very strengthening stone. It says, my life glides forward with ease. I am mindful. I think and act with positive energy. All right, we're going to read that one, and then one more. Threads of Freight. Oh, okay. Strength card. That's what's up. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and put this down here. And we're going to go ahead and read each of these for you. I always like to read the descriptions of oracle cards because even though I've worked with these cards for quite a bit and there are certain, you know, channeled messages or intuitive messages I can pull from each card, I always feel like looking at the book and seeing what's there, there's always additional messages and things that may resonate with the person I'm reading for, or even resonate to me that maybe I wasn't thinking about. So I always first kind of go through it on a intuitive level, channeled message level, you know, based on the images or the things that I'm picking up on, like I did with this card. Which is funny because I said this card is a strengthening stone, and then the strength card came out for the Threads of Fate deck. But I do always like to read the descriptions because I always feel like there's more that we can take away, especially if it resonates with you. So I'm going to go ahead and let's do the stone first. All right, and the back of this card says unlimited possibilities. Relax into the flow of a happy life. What goes around comes around. Attract good and love. And I feel like with this stone and this card in general, there's this feeling of through all the heaviness and the shadow work and the inner work and, you know, the hanged man type of energy that we're in collectively and personally in our lives, this need to still find joy and happiness somewhere throughout it all, to make sure it goes back to that Four of Swords, like to make sure you're giving yourself the ability to relax while you're working on your healing. Yes, we're reflecting, we're taking time to do inner work, we're showing up daily, but we're also taking pauses, we're sipping our tea, we're going outside for walks, we're hanging out with our friends still, not self-isolating and crying in our rooms. You know, I mean, maybe a little bit of that. Maybe a little bit of that, but we're making sure to go back out and to do something good for us. You know what I mean? Like crying and getting it out is important, but it's also important to make sure you reconnect with people who love you and not just have it all on your shoulders all alone. You know, allow yourself to open up for space for joy through the process of all this heaviness that's happening. So the orbicular, oh my god, I can't even say this word, orbicular jasper opens your mind to the potential that you can glide through life with ease. This stone helps you remember the power of the law of attraction, and it is a reminder of the circular flow of energy. What you send out comes back to you. Yeah, and I feel like that, especially if we're talking about healing and taking the time to do all this inner work and shadow work, again, is also making sure we're not getting super bogged down by it, because then it can become where like you're at an event or with your friends and you're not even present because you're so bogged down by the heaviness of the world or the heaviness of what's going on in your life, and you're just like, you're there but you're not there, you know what I mean? So then it's like that becomes such a narrow focus. So it's like you could be in a room crowded with people, or you could be surrounded by your friends, but you still feel like you're completely alone. And I feel like Spirit's saying to be mindful of that, right? It's like, it is important to show up, to do the work, to look at the shadow of what's going on and to reflect and to take accountability and all of those things. But it's also very important to allow yourself to enjoy and to remember that what you are thinking about and what you are constantly playing in your head over and over again is also attracting what's around you. And if all you're doing is replaying about how all the things in your life or in the world are horrible, it's going to be very difficult to experience anything differently. And so while we don't want to repress or not look at what's happening, we also don't want to prevent ourselves from seeing anything else, if that makes sense. Shout out to Jackson in the building. Jackson Looper was good. All right, so then we have the Strength card from the Threads of Fate card, which this is very much similar to the Strength card in the tarot, which is all about, you know, tapping into a well of strength. And I do feel like as a society, on a collective and individual level, we are being asked to be stronger than we've ever had to be, and to really tap into a well of strength that we may not have had before, whether it is for our own mental strength, our own emotional strength, our own spiritual strength. There is this sense of being, tested when it comes to how strong we are, how courageous we are, and how stable and sturdy we are for ourselves and for those around us. Because I feel like it can be very easy to tip over at this moment. And so we are being asked to tap into that well of strength beyond what we may be used to. let me go ahead and pull this card. It says, this card indicates a time where you need to tap into your reserve of strength and resilience. There may be things coming up in your life right now that require your courage and the willingness to be uncomfortable. That's right on par. Our ability to adjust to any transition, loss, or change will depend on our patience in riding out the storm. Sometimes we have to do this without a map. Whatever is coming up for you right now, understand that it will pass. You just need to believe you can move through it. Yes, and I feel like that is definitely the message from the World card. Believing that whatever it is that you're experiencing now on a personal level, what we're experiencing now on a collective level, this energy shall pass. We will get through it. There is another side to it. It will come full circle. It will, graduate into a different energy. We just have to be willing to look at it, to examine it, to show up for it, to take accountability where we can take accountability, to reflect, to be uncomfortable, and to believe that and trust that it will move and transform into something else, and to hold space for that, right? That's where the relaxation and sometimes taking our mind and easing up on just constantly reflecting or thinking about it can be really powerful, because sometimes when we free ourselves up from that, we allow the space for things to change and transform. So I just feel like this is really confirming to what the advice was already coming through with the World card here. All right, Angel of Vision. I'm going to go ahead and read this one next. And I have not seen this card before, so I really think it's beautiful, though. I like the little the butterflies, the rainbows. It says, the Angel of Vision has appeared in your reading today to help you to see through a particular situation that is affecting your life at the present. There is more to this current situation than meets the eye. The person or people hiding part of the truth are not revealing the full story. Do not rely on what you are shown or told. Rather, start to pay attention to your intuition. What is your gut feeling regarding the present event? Ask your Angel of Vision to help you. Trust your feelings and natural instincts instead of relying on what others are saying. All will be revealed through the light of love, and the current stream of events will turn in your favor. I was saying earlier about how this could be about how people you love and people who you genuinely typically connect with, how this Mars in Cancer energy is affecting them in your relationship. But I also feel this is very on par with what's going on in the government and the global politics as a whole, of there being a lot that we do not see fully yet. And to really pay attention to what our gut is saying and how we feel, over trusting what is being told to us on that level. So yeah, take that message as it resonates for you. As always, with all readings, always make sure to use your own discernment. Do not just take what I say. Trust your own wisdom, trust your own intuitive gifts. We all are connected to this divine source. I don't care what anybody else says. No one is above anyone when it comes to this. So always trust how the message resonates for you specifically, because all of us can be connected to the same energy, but the way it applies to our specific life can be vastly different. So whatever comes up to you as I'm saying these messages, and this is the first thing you think of, and you're like, oh, I don't know, that's not what she said, so I'm not sure. Doesn't matter what I said. Trust yourself and what's coming up for you and that first thing that you think about. And I feel like this might be just confirmation of that, because there's going to be a lot of, scamminess and people trying to sell fluff, especially with this kind of energy. So this can also just be confirmation of that, to double down on trusting your own intuition and not, pedestaling up anybody outside of yourself, or, trusting that, being wary of what you trust and who you listen to. That's not you. You know what I mean? Because we don't want to be in our own ego, but at the same time, there's a lot of people who are operating out of ego who are trying to sell us something all the time. So be mindful of that as well. Courtney says, girl, yes, that's my personal mantra for this season. Everything you want, and I mean everything, sits on the other side of discomfort. Yes. I love that. Turn into it, not away. The only way out is through. The avoidance of discomfort is how almost all unhealthy coping mechanisms form, and oftentimes the destruction that comes from avoidance is worse. Yes, 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 yes. I know my mantra of this time period is I can do hard things. Shout out to Dochi. I can do hard things. That's been my mantra. I love that girl. Dochi is a queen. She's just been my well of inspiration in so many ways. All right, y'all. Last card. I forgive and let go with loving ease. And I think this is just, again, confirming about how truly difficult this time period can be, and how it like I said, it's like bearing witness to grief, and it can be hard, like you said, turning inward and not away from the discomfort of what we're seeing, like actually bearing witness to what's going on globally, bearing witness to what's going on in our personal lives, bearing witness to the trauma that's triggering, coming out of us, that's coming out of others, that's coming out of the world. Like, that's a lot. So forgiveness and letting go and having loving ease through that process is going to be very important, because it can be so heavy and so difficult to navigate. That's the part of the tarot that is empowering us. That is what the message is that's empowering us, is our ability to grasp that, to integrate that, and to become that, is what the tarot wants to gift us, what spirit wants to gift us. So I'm going to go ahead and read this. Number 15 says forgiveness. Forgiveness is potent medicine and one of the most important spiritual practices we can cultivate. When we forgive, we allow our lives to move forward with more ease. Deep challenges or past hurts may hold your greatest gifts, and can be doorways to incredible insight, growth, and compassion. When you forgive yourself or others, you say yes to life and open up to something more aligned. Although we may want the other to apologize first, we cannot control one another. Hangman, right? By saying no to the harboring of negativity and suffering, we take full responsibility for how we feel, clean up the disharmony within ourselves, and allow acceptance and love to prevail. Surrender control, let go of blame, and receive the underlying teaching. You're ready to take the first step. Bring love into your own being in this very moment. Yeah. And also something that was coming up about this too is, like, with everything going on globally in global politics and astrologically and stuff, right? There is going to be certain people who are going to spew hate and going to spew division, who you might have thought, oh, like, those are people who I thought were my friends, or who were people who I thought were super cool and I looked up to, or, I thought we got along. And then all of a sudden they're over here, doing those things. We have to have certain compassion and forgiveness for that too. That people are going to react and going to be in their feelings. Very Cancer, Mars energy. So whether that's someone who you love and you seeing the way that the weight of the world is having them kind of make you the enemy and project on you, or whether that's people who are misjudging you in your communal spaces based on their own hurt and pain. Trying not to internalize any of that right now, I feel like, is also a message here where, we're all experiencing these lessons and this energy and doing the best that we can, and forgiving, letting go, and protecting yourself through it all, having boundaries and trying to not make it something more than what it is, can be very helpful during this time period too. But those are all the messages coming through for today. I know I didn't take as much time stopping and just looking at the cards today, but I just felt like these messages were really wanting to come out, and I didn't want to not let them come out. But definitely let me know down below, especially for if you are watching this on the playback, any of the intuitive messages that you pulled up when you were experiencing this reading. Was there anything that was resonating for you, or a message that was coming out? Let me know down below. I also want to thank everybody here on the live who did participate in the chat and let me know what was coming up for them intuitively. I love that part of these spaces. It's like my favorite part, is being able to see the way that like I said, it's a collective experience, you know what I mean? And being able to see people interact in the chat and talk about how those messages relate to what they're going through, but also the way in which the message resonates in a different way or a similar way, but in this way it's a little bit different. I just love it because I do feel like we're all missing this little puzzle piece, but yet when we get together and we interact in these spaces, like we give each other that little puzzle piece that helps us get where we need to go, and at least helps us get to the next day, you feel me? So I just want to say I appreciate you all so much. Thank you so much for joining me today for Tea and Tarot. I want to thank your guides, my guides, and the divine for this space today. I want to thank you all so much for vibing with me, and as always, please take care of yourself. Be kind to yourself, be loving to yourself, be compassionate with yourself, be kind to one another, and I will see you all next time.